Well, good morning. We are glad that you joined us, and we are here talking about holiday scams. We're actually going to do the 12 scams Christmas. And my name is Jason. I'm with the Better Business Bureau. The name of our Better Business Bureau is actually the Better Business Bureau Serving the Fall Line Corridor. Now, we came up with that name because we have offices in Augusta, Macon, and Columbus, and that was known as the Fall Line. And we actually serve over 77 counties, over 47,000 businesses, and over 2.5 million consumers. And it seems like we're always doing something. There's always something going on, and we cannot do it by ourselves because we have some wonderful friends. And one of our friends is, it's Mr. Sean Conroy. And Mr. Sean, will you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Hey, thank you, Jason. And we appreciate the Better Business Bureau inviting us to this holiday scam webinar. And Jason said it, in consumer protection, it takes a number of players to working together to help stop scams and protect consumers. And so at the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division, we're the state level consumer protection law enforcement organization, and we enforce a number of consumer protection laws, including the Fair Business Practices Act. We have counselors available for consumers to contact Monday through Friday. And we, on our website at consumer.ga.gov, you can learn more about us as well. Our phone number, and we'll probably give this out again later in the program, is 404-651-8600. So what we try to do at our office is investigate complaints when they're in the public interest. We don't represent individual, and we get about 18 to 20,000 complaints a year. We have a staff of about 45 people, investigators, lawyers, counselors that again talk to consumers. So we also place consumer information on our website. We have a program called Ask Consumer Ed where we answer consumer questions twice a month from real consumers, and so that's our organization in a nutshell. And I'll pass it back to you, Jason.
Well, it's always funny to me when people say, what do you do at the Better Business Bureau? And I always say, well, a lot. And because the Better Business Bureau tends to act like a funnel or an intake, and we get it. And what we do is, with these great friends like Sean at the Attorney General's, Consumer Protection Division, we're able to say, hey, it needs a greater look. It needs a state level investigation. And so we're able to push it up to him. But then when we need to go, more with a federal level, then we call our friend Anna. And Anna's always been a great friend to our Better Business Bureau. And so would you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure, Jason. And just to echo Sean, we always appreciate partnering with the Better Business Bureau as well as the State Attorney General's office. We can't do our work without our great partners. And so we just appreciate being invited to be here today and to hear from everyone about what they're seeing in regards to scams, because the Federal Trade Commission's mission is to stop unfair or deceptive acts or practices in the marketplace. And that runs the gamut from anything from robocalls to frauds to some of the scams we're going to talk about today to nationwide false advertising. I do have to give a standard disclaimer before we begin that any views I express today are my own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Commission or any of the individual 5 commissioners. But I look forward to talking with everybody and getting some great information out there about how people can protect themselves from some of the scams we're going to be talking about today.
So with these different scams, we're calling it the 12 scams of Christmas. And I can promise you that a scammer is not your true love. So he's not going to be bringing you, 2 turtle doves. But what I can tell you is that the organizations that you would turn to for relief during scams or for help with scams or to, what we would prefer to be educated before you ever fall for a scam is the Better Business Bureau, the Attorney General's Office, the Consumer Protection Division, and the Federal Trade Commission. So what we're doing is we're bringing all three of them to you. Well, and I'm glad because we have the expert when it comes to identity theft. The Federal Trade Commission has a number of fantastic tools they've even put together an identity theft recovery plans to make it easier for consumers to use that the BBB gives out all the time. And this is our sixth scam of Christmas. And, everything gets back to identity theft. And really, we say that term so much, but Anna, tell us about what does the term identity theft mean and how can it be related back to these e-cards that we're going to see?
Sure, Jason. Identity theft really boils down to your personal information, such as your bank account, your social security, even your birth date, being taken by people who shouldn't have it. And that's what happens with these e-cards. And it happens in really two different ways. Either when and just to back up, an e-card, we've all probably received them now. In lieu of sending somebody an actual paper card, these e-cards are popular to send to people in their email box or even through a text message. They often have cute little dancing characters in them or something pops up. They're very colorful. They're exciting to get. And scammers know that. So in order to take advantage of that, they are doing one of two things. When you are sending an e-card to somebody, they're asking for a lot of personal information that they don't need. Sometimes that could even be your social security or your bank account information, and no one needs that information in order to send a card of dancing bears to one of your friends. The second way they do that, they get your information, is that you will get an email or a text saying that you have received an e-card, and sometimes or oftentimes it's from a very vague address, like a secret admirer has sent you something, or a friend, but it doesn't say the friend's name, or your loved one has sent you an e-card. And when you click on that link, they are either downloading malware onto your computer so that they can retrieve your information, or they're asking you to enter your own information to retrieve the the e-card. And so once those scammers have that information and they have it at their own disposal, it's likely that they're going to try to use it either to take out money out of your bank account or to use your social security number for their own means. So I'm glad that you brought up identitytheft.gov, Jason, because as you said, if you go on there, if you suspect that your information has been taken, it really is a very easy process to walk through. It's a step-by-step process that will ask you, if you know how your information was taken, it'll ask you what information was taken. It will ask you for anybody that identity theft should be reported to, like the credit bureaus or your financial institutions. And it will actually create an affidavit that you can submit to all of these places to try to stop the identity theft from harming either your credit or from people to use your information. So if you do think that you've been a victim of identity theft, identitytheft.gov is really the place to go.
And the reason why you hear so much talk about identity theft is because here in the state of Georgia, identity theft happens every 2.5 seconds on average. And over 50% of all identity theft happens family member to family member. And this sounds ugly, but we need to get, and I tell people all the time, we need to be very real about who is in our houses. And because I've got some cousins that I wouldn't trust, and I would encourage you to invest in a shredding machine, because how do you know that one person that you can't trust no further than you can throw them hadn't got your credit card application and filled it out for themselves And it's not hard to find out your social security number if they're already getting an application and going through your house. That happens often. And we're going to get back to our 12 scams of Christmas, but we're going to add a 13th right here. And I can put Sean and Anna on the spot because they can tell you a lot about this one as well. And we see a little heart on our e-card. When we can tug at the heartstrings of people, when scammers can, that's when you can make a ton of money. And with so many people being lost to COVID and, the increase in people becoming widows and then too with loneliness, romance scams are a big, big deal. And they're not waiting till Valentine's this year. Love is hot and it's out and they are looking for you. So, Sean, can you jump in and tell us about romance scams, please?
Yeah, Jason, this is a very unfortunate way that scam artists attack people. And that's what they're doing. They're attacking people looking for relationships. And they will create fake profiles and on some social network, they'll meet you. Eventually, what's going to happen is the scam artist is going to come up with some reason they need money. That could be they want to buy a plane ticket to come see the victim. It may be they've run into some financial trouble and they're asking for a loan. And so once the scam artist lures the victim in, then they will eventually ask for funds to be sent in some way, usually wired. And so it's something to be aware of. It's something that it's another area that we need to talk to others about, and make sure that they're aware of these scams. It happens to people from all ages. And so it is not to one age group. It can happen to the young and the old. And so it is a good warning that you're mentioning here, Jason. Anna, you may have some other additions to this issue.
Sure, Sean. One of the really terrible things about romance scams, as Sean says, is they're preying on people by tugging at their heartstrings, but also the amount of money that is lost to romance scams. This is not a product that has a price tag associated with it. And so when people are being asked by somebody who's telling them that they love them and that they trust this person, they're sending them large amounts of money. And in many cases, it could be their savings or more money than they have to lose. So one piece of advice that we should share with everyone is if you haven't met the person, you shouldn't be sending them money.
Yes.
You don't know who's on the other side of that computer. It might seem like this person loves you. You might be in love with that person, but it's not the person that you think it is necessarily on the other side. So if you haven't sent them, because Sean is correct, they're going to be asking you for things like plane ticket money to come and meet you, or they're going to be asking for things such as money, especially with the pandemic. We often will hear that people were asked because the person they thought was, their romantic partner had COVID or was being hospitalized, or a family member was being hospitalized, that they were taking advantage of two different things: the romantic feelings that this person had and the sympathy they had for the person or their loved one for being hospitalized. So just once again, do that gut check. Talk to your trusted loved ones or friends to see if it makes sense to them to send money. And just really the bottom line is if you haven't met the person, that you shouldn't be sending them any money.
And I would love to never talk about this scam again, because this scam also has a high, probably, and I feel very confident saying this, that this one's connected to the highest suicide rate, because not only have you given a lot of money, you've given your heart only to find out that it was not the person that you were dealing with?